So the big news today is that we have a new manager, Will Still, joining from French club Lens on a 3-year deal. He was in the stands today watching the Arsenal game. Then we spoke at length about his appointment on the pod last week. So do catch up with that if you haven't done so already. We've also got a new interview with the journalist who covers French football and knows a bit or two about Still. So you can find that video on our YouTube channel, and that interview will be included in the audio version of the podcast, which will be available tomorrow morning. Alfie, we did say that they were hoping to have him announced today. We weren't sure whether that was going to be the case or not, but it turns out they obviously managed to get it done and get it over the line in time.
Yeah, I think obviously, Steve, we spoke about it last week, didn't we? And we weren't 100% sure if that would be able to happen, really, given how quick of a turnaround it was. But yeah, it sounds like sort of Saturday morning it broke that it was all really officially done and ready. And at that point, I'm pretty sure Will was in the training ground yesterday morning. Before he went to Wembley Stadium. He's had a busy week, by the way. He was at Trent Bridge on Friday. He was at Staplewood yesterday morning. He went to Wembley for the playoff final yesterday, and obviously now he's at St Mary's for this game as well. But I think we spoke about last week that it was important for the club to show fans that they had a direction, I guess. And after, like you said, a really long year of, and we'll get into it a bit more, but just sort of feeling like we lack clarity at times, not knowing where we're going to go and what's on. It's nice for the fans to see that he was there today. Didn't do a speech or anything, half-time appearance or anything like that. But, yeah, just in the ground and watched what I thought was a fairly decent performance from Saints.
Yeah, we'll get into the game in a minute, Steve. But do you think that was good to get him there today? It was kind of like a signal of that it all starts again now.
Yeah, I mean, it shows that kind of they are prepared, which is not something that has kind of often been associated, given how long if you bear in mind how long the Russell Martin appointment took 2 years ago. They were kind of left a little bit unprepared, I think, for the sort of legal wrangling that ended up following on that. So good that they've just decided, right, we're just going to pay the money and get it done this time around. And yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of quite good to have that little crossover, isn't it, of sort of out with the old and in with the new, and sort of almost like the sort of the two sort of entries on the sort of cuckoo clock, kind of crossing over as the clock strikes 4 o'clock. And yeah, I think, look, it's difficult job he's coming into, but I imagine certainly from the quotes, he's excited by it, and I mean, it's going to be a challenge. Let's make no bones about it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, I think.
We didn't really have any time to waste either, do we, Glenn? I think it's about 10 weeks until the season starts, with the Premier League finishing later and the Championship starting earlier.
No, I think it's important to get him in now. I mean, we said that we got relegated. When was it? 1st of April or something? Early April. So we've had a lot of time to use, and all that time can be used for is to prepare for next season. I think it's important to get him in before before the players will disappear off on holidays, because who knows, he might be able to talk to one or two of them and persuade them to stay if he does, if he says something really impressive, which is obviously you're never going to have the chance to do that if you come in after the season's finished. So yeah. Maybe that's been a little bit optimistic, but at least players that are weighing up whether to leave or not, they're making that decision with their eyes open. They know who the new manager is going to be now. So I don't think there's any downside of getting him in now. I mean, it's a little bit of a gamble, isn't it? I think I've heard Steve say several times that any manager that we get is a gamble. I guess the red flags, if you like, for Still, are the fact that he's never managed in the Championship, and despite being English, he's never managed over here. So, but the pedigree and what he's done in French football, and to a lesser extent Belgian football, has been it is impressive. It's mad that he's only 32. That is absolutely mad. Sorry, that will never not seem weird. Managers should be 50 plus. Yeah, but
I think that's what my biggest issue is, all told. I know that's the thing I've struggled to come to terms with.
Yeah, it's a bit odd, but players are getting younger and younger. I mean, we had another youngster in the team today. We've had very young players on the bench, and that's just the way football's going. And if you're good enough, you're old enough. And yeah, as Steve said, it's going to be a huge challenge for him because we're not in a great spot as it stands, obviously. With finishing the season on 12 points, there'll be a lot, Russell Martin's old phrase about scar tissue. There's a lot of that. There's going to be a hell of a churn with regarding players leaving, and he's going to have to identify pretty quickly the areas that he wants to improve the squad in. So, yeah, we all knew we had to draw a line under this season at some point, and this is as you say, it's the first step into the new year.
Yeah, but Glenn, you mentioned the conversations and stuff, who knows what they're talking about, but the players and families and staff, they all sort of stayed at St Mary's after the game today and had a kick around on the pitch, stuff like that. And Will Steele was there and he was having conversations with, the technical directors, Jack Stevens, a couple of other players and stuff like that. So it's sending everybody away, isn't it, with a clear direction of sort of who's in charge and what they might want. Who knows what he spoke about, whether it's next season or not, probably not. Just hello, how are you? But it's good. I think it's good to have that face in the building already and have those early conversations.